Mark Kimber and Alejandro Lajos Lopez make it a very competitive row 2. Camera currently working its way from back to front down the grid. The pole position side of the grid is to your left of picture, and to the right is the outside of the grid. So as we get to the very front, Thomas Inborg to the left there. 247 is Mark Kimber. There's the 232 though, Thomas Inborg, the CRG, getting ready to go. Very quick qualifying, and then if we pan round to the left, we'll see the Litchfield motorsport driver, Stephen Lex. But as I said, Mark Kimber and Alejandro Lajos Lopez made that of a very competitive second row, 2 drivers with a lot of experience. Mark Kimber raced in the X30 Euro Series this year. If it weren't for a disqualification at the first round, he could have perhaps finished a lot higher up. He could have perhaps won the championship, because he took a win at the second round, Salbris, took a second in Wackersdorf, and then ended the season with a win at Castelletto. So Mark Kimber has won a lot of races in this class. There's Oliver Clark, one of the youngest drivers out on track. Hello to Oliver Clark. And then we have the 239, which is Sean Butcher. He's the Vice British champion in the Junior X30 class. There's the CRK FIA World Champion, Danny Curl. Everyone expecting Danny Curl to be right at the sharp end this weekend. Danny Curl hasn't had the pace most would have expected in qualifying, but do not write him off just yet. He's got a lot of heats and a pre-final and a final still to go. As that's an interesting camera view there. As we look now at Rihan Janey. Just ahead of him, that's Casper Korjus. Brother to Kevin Korjus. 320 is Abdullah Al-Rawahi, and then we come to Alejandro Lajos Lopez. A lot of experience racing. He's had some good results at Le Mans over the years, not just in this class. There's Stephen Letts on the outside of the front row. Used to race in the TKM classes in Britain, and has since moved up to X30 racing. Now we do have a bit of a delay because we have a cart from that third heat being recovered, and that is the cart of Alexandros Kapsis, who unfortunately picked up a bent axle coming through the first corner, where we had Matthew McLean pretty much spin into the path of 30 odd drivers coming through the first corner at some pace. So Alexandros Kapsis was one of the last drivers to try and get past McLean, and had nowhere else to go but straight into him. Thomas Inborg, Stephen Letts, your front row for the next heat though, with Kapsis now being recovered. Then we have Mark Kimber, Alejandro Lajos Lopez, Jean Nomblo, Abdullah Al-Rawahi on row 3. Jean Nomblo, definitely not surprising to see him so far up the order. Oliver Clark and Casper Korjus are on row 4 now. Oliver Clark, third in the X30 Euro Series this year, with the best result of second at Salbris, and he was second for a long time in the junior final last year, was Oliver Clark, so he's used to being at the front at these events. Casper Korjus, good to see Casper Korjus here, he's on row 4. Sean Butcher, as I said, the Vice British champion in the Junior X30 class. Dennis Rihan Janey, Danny Curl, the CRK FIA World Champion, and also the Senior X30 British Champion. So that's how he won his place. Yeah. Very quick driver is Danny Curl, and has had a brilliant season. I'd like to end up, I'm sure, with a win at the Iame International Final. Hamders qualified pretty well. So speed box on the outside of row 8, it's Gideon Lane, and that is Cordier on row 9, Mateus Pilka, and Jakob Mateus Oja on row 10. Charles Ferreira is on row 11 with the X30 Henry Pillico. Then it's Jacob Robinson and Henrik Schultz Frenking. On row 13, Thanapong Stumino with Jan Kalot. Then it's Isaac Valton and Matilda Olsen in Bristol from That's kind of the worst time for it to happen. Some people might think to find it, but qualifying really does not help. It gives you a lot of work to do over the weekend. But we're getting ready to go then for heat number 4 in X30 Senior for groups G and H. And on the front row, Thomas Inborg and Stephen Letts, Mark Kimber and Alejandro Lajos Lopez, row 2, Jean Nomblo and Abdullah Al-Rawahi, row 3, Oliver Clark and Casper Corjus, row 4, Sean Butcher, Rehan Janey, row 5. That's leading into the last corner. Onto the start-finish straight, Inborg will be to the right, and to the left will be Stephen Letts. Let's hope we get away first time, 11 laps ahead of us, and we're going to go round one more time. So, at a full start. Not sure exactly why that was, but they looked in order, but that was just kind of a little bit too much speed, so tyres temperature, prepare for start. We have the Portuguese driver Ferreira down on the inside row 11. He actually was 8th in this year's X30 Euro Series with a best result of, I think it was 5th place in the opening round at Genk. So we'll look for the 252 to be moving forward. That's him out of position for sure. Talk about Jan Guvert, one of the earlier heats to Belgium, was 7th in the X30 Euro Series. So again, that's another driver we expect to be moving forward. In terms of the highest, the best placed driver last year to return, Joel Eclipse 3rd last year, is the highest ranked driver to return to this event. But let's turn our attention to this heat. Thomas Inborg, Stephen Letts, the front row, a lot better that time at the start, and we head down towards turn number 1 for the first time. Stephen Letts on the outside is going to try and give this a go to try and hold on to second. In the end, slots into 3rd, so it's Inborg, Kimber and Letts the top 3 as they head through turn number 2 for the first time. Then I believe it's Lajos Lopez. Oh, we've had 2 drivers go quite some distance off the circuit there. We'll pick that one up at the end of the first lap, but the lead queue still very much together as they make their way down towards the hairpin. John Nomblo is in 4th place. Just behind that, there was some defensive driving going on for 5th place. I think that was Lajos Lopez, in fact, defending from Oliver Clark in 5th place. Oliver Clark is going to go through to 5th at the end of the back straight and does. Al-Rawahi goes up to 6th place. So Lajos Lopez dropping down the order. Oh, we've had a crash at the penultimate corner. Matthew Graham, I believe is involved in this heat. Matthew Graham up in front, still as we were. Top 4 are broken away though. John Nomblo is just at the back of the three that I've been included as part of the group. Then to get back to Oliver Clark in 6 seconds. So Inborg, Kimber, Letts, Nomblo, the top 4. So making their way down to the hairpin. Kimber isn't going to try and move. He doesn't. Inborg actually defends, as does Kimber. And this is all allowing Jean Nomblo to now close right onto the back of the lead three, and it will allow Oliver Clark to close in. If they're not careful, Kimber now goes up the inside though. Kimber seeing a gap at the end of the back straight and went past Thomas Inborg. It's not done Inborg any favours because he's dropped down to fourth place. He's under a lot of pressure from Oliver Clark. So in towards turn one, Kimber and Lex breaking away out front all of a sudden. It's amazing how quickly a car race can change his head. Nomblo leads the battle for first place. Clark in fourth. Then it is Al-Rawahi in that race. That's Inborg fifth. My apologies. It isn't anymore. Al-Rawahi now sneaks through the fifth place. Inborg is sixth. Then it is Lajos Lopez in seventh. Danny Curl is in eighth place, just behind Danny Curl's Casper Gorgius, but a challenge from the lead from Stephen Letts, and he gets through. Had to take some curb on the way through, but Stephen Letts through into the race lead. Down the back straight then for the third time. Mark Kimber has no response to him. Oliver Clark goes through to third place. Good move from Oliver Clark. He's done two moves now down the back straight as they make their way down the start finish straight. Stephen Letts being told, look forward, just concentrate on going forwards as they're heading towards turn number one. Mark Kimber, I wonder if he's going to try and go with it here, or whether he'll try and move. So heading towards turn number two. Oliver Clark is only 6/10 behind the top two, and it looks like he's getting even closer. He is. Oliver Clark quickest through the first sector. Not the quickest on track, that belongs to Max Sanander down in 13th place, but Oliver Clark quicker than the top two, closing in. So the gap's now down to half a second as they head onto the back straight, and you don't even, well, that's a replay of the move for the lead. As you saw, Stephen Letts just to take a bit of curb on the way through, but it was a clean move overall. Good move, in fact, from Stephen Letts, but the top four are starting to get very close. They were split by 8/10 of a second as they came across the line last time. It's now only 6/10 as they head in towards turn one. Oliver Clark, I have a feeling he's not going to wait around when he catches the top two. I say when and not if, because he is absolutely flying, is Oliver Clark in third place, the M Sport driver. Through turn number 5 and 6 they go. Behind that, Jean Nomblo under a lot of pressure. He has Lajos Lopez queuing up as Corjus, Curl as well. In fact, Corjus is the first driver in that queue, so that will make him 6th place. Then it's Curl in 7th. Lajos Lopez is 8th place, but the top four making their way down the back straight for the 5th time. Mark Kimber feeling the pressure, and there goes Oliver Clark through to 2nd place. Brilliant move. We've seen that move a few times now. Down the start finish straight. That's given Stephen Letts just a bit of breathing space for the time being. Kimber will probably want to work with Oliver Clark in 2nd place here to close in Stephen Letts as they make their way up towards turn number 2. Abdullah Al-Rawahi has the best seat in the house for this battle at the moment. He's just being patient there in 4th place for now, but Abdullah Al-Rawahi has been working with Oliver Clark, so I have a feeling the man in 4th place is going to try and move for 3rd very shortly. Down towards the left-hander, Oliver Clark really closing in on Stephen Letts. Down the back straight, we're going to see a move out the chicane. Surely, if Oliver Clark can get the run, I think he'll go past Stephen Letts, but a poor run through the chicane for Oliver Clark. Sees Mark Kimber go through to 2nd place. Abdullah Al-Rawahi goes through to 3rd. Not too sure what happened to Oliver Clark there, but just seemed to get a bad exit out the chicane, and he's now lost about half a second to the leaders. And here comes Mark Kimber on Stephen Letts. Mark Kimber taking the race lead then. Stephen Letts now back down to 3rd place, so Mark Kimber back into the race lead, back to where he was at the start of the race. Abdullah Al-Rawahi 2nd place, Stephen Letts 3rd, Oliver Clark 4th. Split by about 6/10 of a second. Jean Nomblo still 5th from Corjus, Curl, Lajos Lopez, Salandra, and the Irishman Gary Edwards is in 10th place at the moment. As they head on to the back straight, down the back straight they go now for the 7th time. Mark Kimber setting a purple 2nd sector that time. 21.5 through the 2nd sector, but both Oliver Clark and Abdullah Al-Rawahi quicker through the third sector, across the start-finish line, and Abdullah Al-Rawahi takes a bit of curb going into the first corner and takes the race lead for the first time. Just as Mark Kimber sets a new fastest lap, Abdullah Al-Rawahi takes the race lead away from him. Stephen Letts is there in third place and trying to go through the second. Oliver Clark is in fourth place still. We have a top four that couldn't get much closer. Behind Danny Curl has just been passed by Alejandro Lajos Lopez, but we have another change of lead. Mark Kimber going up the inside of Abdullah Al-Rawahi. They're three wide on the exit. Through the chicane they go onto the back straight, and Stephen Letts pushed onto the grass. There was a bit of battling between Oliver Clark and Stephen Letts there. Oliver Clark now trying to go through to second on Abdullah Al-Rawahi, and he finds himself briefly on the grass as they make their way now down the start-finish straight to complete lap number 8. It's Kimber from Clark, Al-Rawahi and Letts. How did that happen? Oliver Clark was not prepared to let Stephen Letts hold on down the outside as they went through the chicane, and invited Letts to take the grass, and Letts had no other option but to do it. Al-Rawahi was a hard move on him as well, but made the play successfully, and Oliver Clark has unknowingly done Mark Kimber some favours as well, because it's left he and Kimber with a gap of around 1 second to Al-Rawahi and Letts. Really, Al-Rawahi and Letts with only 2 laps to go at the end of this need some battles to happen between the top 2 for them to realistically have a chance in taking this race victory in the opening heat. Down the start-finish straight, let's look at some lap times then. 55.6 for Kimber, 55.6 for Clark. Al-Rawahi and Letts both do a 55.7. As they make their way up towards turn number 2, the gap from second to third, 1 second still. Actually rose by about half a tenth. Letts, though, in fourth is catching Al-Rawahi. We could see a change for third. Oliver Clark in second. Is he lining up a move on Mark Kimber? He likes to move down the end of the back straight. He may switch it up this time round. Thought there was a move coming to the left-hand hairpin there. Didn't quite happen. What about out the chicane? Looking out the window. Kimber looks safe for now. So they head through the left-hander in towards the final couple of corners they go. Letts still trying to line up a move on Al-Rawahi. Onto the start-finish straight. Last lap board goes out, and Kimber now only has to hold off Oliver Clark, but that can sometimes be harder to hold off just one driver rather than 3 drivers as they head up towards turn 2 for the final time. Is Oliver Clark going to try and get a move on Mark Kimber done? Letts has gone through the third place. That must have been done at turn number 1. Didn't see it myself, but Letts through into third and is absolutely flying at the moment. Stephen Letts, despite that move, is purple through the first sector. He's actually 4/10 quicker than the race leaders as Mark Kimber now defends. Stephen Letts isn't out of this one just yet. In third place, onto the back straight for the last time. Litchfield Motorsport driver in third place there, trying to line up a move on the top 2. It's going to go for the outside down the back straight. He's going to get the run perhaps on Oliver Clark. Goes for the outside, can't quite get the move done. So it's going to be Mark Kimber who takes the race win. Oliver Clark finishes second, and it's a drag race to the line in the end. Oliver Clark just 0.021 seconds behind Kimber. Stephen Letts was only 800ths off a race win. Well, he was 4/10 quicker than Kimber through the first sector, half a second quicker than Kimber through the second sector. Stephen Letts, what a lap time that was despite an overtake. He looked like absolutely on it going through that second sector. In fairness, Kimber and Clark were battling ahead as they were going up towards the hairpin, but what a lap. Almost won it. One more lap and he might have just done it. Kimber takes the race win though. Oliver Clark takes second. Stephen Letts third. Abdullah Al-Rawahi fourth. Jean Nomblo had a tough job in holding on to fifth place, was just about able to do it. Casper Corju sixth. Danny Cole was seventh place. Then it was Alejandro Lajos Lopez, Jean-Philippe Springbob, and Gary Edwards rounding out the top 10. Then we had Max Salander, Sean Butcher was 12th. Then it was Rehan Janey, Thomas Imborg, Mattis Cordier, Yao Ferreira, Matilda Olsen moved through the order pretty well actually. She moved forward from row 14 from 28th to 17th. Mateus Pilka 18th, and it was Robin Vax and Jakob Mateus Oja. And it was Sutamno, Robinson, Lay, Schultz, Frenking. That was the replay of the drag race to the line. I'll tell you what, Oliver Clark was not far away off getting a race win there. That's the replay of what it was as they came up to the line. Let's just backing off before the first corner. He was actually a lot closer than that. Fortunately, we're not going to be able to get through the rest of the order as the timing screen refreshes. But brilliant last heat, last rounds of, how shall I say it? The first round of heats for the X30 seniors ended brilliantly there, with Mark Kimber taking the race win from Oliver Clark, Stephen Letts and Abdullah Al-Rirahi.